Hey guys, welcome to a video of Star Trek Fleet Command. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the ever famous beginner's guide that I created about a year ago. I've gotten so many likes on that video, so many comments on that video. It's probably one of my most watched videos at about 28,000 views. And so I wanted to go back to it and really update it, give it a better give more explanation to a lot of the things that I may have missed from it. So this might be a little longer than usual. If you are a new beginner to Star Trek Fleet Command, definitely watch through it. Make sure you're kind of absorbing everything. If you're playing through certain content, feel free to pause the video and kind of watch what I'm doing here, and definitely post any additional questions you have down below. So before we get started, go ahead and click that subscribe and that bell button. That's really the best way to get notifications. Things are changing really rapidly here on the channel. So now that I'm receiving giveaways, I'm giving them out. And the best way to get those giveaways is to be on my Discord server, or at least be a subscriber or member on the notifications that you do receive, because I will send them out to all subscribers to get those to you as soon as possible. And basically, it's just first come, first serve with those. I like to give them out. I like for you guys to kind of enjoy the games that I'm playing. So definitely check it out. You'll also see that there is a join a member function. Definitely check that out. Give me some feedback. I just set that up, so I'm kind of playing with it right now. But let's get to the video. So, in Star Trek Fleet Command, you're going to be starting in a level 1 system. And what I mean by a level 1 system is there's a 1. This is a starter system. The hostiles, which are these bad boys right here, they are also level 1. You can close up on them and kind of see what kind of ships they are. These are Rigelian destroyers. Your typical NPC, which is a non-playable character, floating through here. And this is known as PvE, when you go out and shoot, versus PvP, which is player versus player. This is more of you fighting the AI. And keep in mind, you're going to want to know some of that terminology for when you do get into an alliance and you do get really set up with them. They're going to be throwing out a lot of abbreviations, and a lot of people do get confused at first about what those abbreviations mean. So just make sure you're aware of that. So we're going to start out with our base. Don't mind my power or anything like that. I am actually going to go ahead and I'm going to do some swapping here to ships that you would have starting out in the game. So you're going to start out with the Realtor, and I will swap this one out to an Orion Corvette, and swap this ship out to let's see to the Fortunate. And you're not going to have this many docks, so you're going to, I believe, start with 2 docks. And what's another starting ship for you? You'll eventually get the Phaedra. And actually, let me swap this out to a miner, since it has the miners on board. Go back to my mining ship and swap that to the Phaedra. Alright, so more than likely you're going to be starting with this ship right here. And I like the crew that I already have, because this is a really good beginning crew setup. Crew is there's a lot involved with crew. A lot of people, what they do, the biggest mistake that I see is people swap in and out random crew to bring up this overall power number. And I'm going to tell you why that's bad. And this is going to get really specific, so if it's over your head currently, don't worry about it. You can always come back to this video where you kind of get more into the game, and it's going to make a little bit more sense. So keep in mind, every ship is going to have a ship ability. And that ship ability is going to be different for every ship. As you go up with the ships, the ship abilities get better. I didn't really pay attention to ship abilities until the Jelly had a really nice ship ability, but I believe there was a bug with it at the time. So the Jellyfish was probably the first ship where I really noticed it. But for the Realtor, the maximum shield health of the Realtor is increased by 110 points. So that's the ship ability. As we can see right here, our current attack is 535, our defense is 765, and our health is 21,000. And what those numbers mean. Attack is pretty standard and pretty self-explanatory. Defense is shields. That's how strong your shields are. And health is the health of your hull. So once your shields are depleted in combat, then it starts applying damage to the hull. And so you got a general idea of how much damage your hull can take. And we can definitely go into these as well. These are definitely for much later in the game when you start looking at those battle reports and taking a look. But these are pretty standard. They do get a little bit more specific, but I don't really want to overwhelm you with the amount of information, so I'm not really going to go over these, with the exception of, let me see, the utility. The utility is really important. A lot of players bypass this and don't read it, and this is a huge problem for a lot of people in the beginning. So the warp range on this ship is 6. That means it can reach systems within a 6 warp. What that means is every system has a different warp range. Basically meaning you can get to systems close to you, but systems that are further out are going to have a higher warp range needed, and the systems that are more farther out in the galaxy specifically. The warp speed is definitely how fast you're going to get there. These are important to know in the beginnings of the game, is the cargo capacity. So as you can see, the ship has a standard mining bonus of 100%. Nothing really to talk about there. The cargo capacity is 4,000, meaning this ship can go out and mine, and once it has 4,000 materials, it's full. It can't mine anymore. You got to send it back home, because every time you redock your ship with a starbase, you're unloading all of its cargo. The protected cargo is 400. And keep in mind, you don't ever want to mine with a Realtor. That's a warship, not a mining ship, but I'm just showing you this as an example. The protected cargo means if you are mining and you're attacked, you will always be able to keep whatever is protected. So in this case, if you had 1,000 in your cargo bay, because you do get from NPC hunting, you do earn resources such as titanium, parsteel, dilithium, and they all go into here. So if you had 1,000 and a player attacks you, they'll get 600 and you'll still keep 400 even if you're destroyed. Now they only steal it if you're completely destroyed. So you want to keep that in mind, because a lot of people are like, oh, you stole my cargo. Not really, you didn't steal all of it, especially, you know, what was protected and what was unprotected. And this is a really big issue in the early stages of the game, is those of us that are like level 28 on up, we call them Realtor Wars. Basically, it's new players getting into a a battle or a war, speaking with a lot of ego, and just wanting to destroy a whole bunch of stuff. That does happen in this game, which is why it's probably very important for you to get connected with a very decent or good alliance in the game. If you're starting off new, it's going to be hard to find that really good alliance, but there are good alliances out there that are willing to take you in as long as they see you being active every day and growing in power. They have no problem keeping you on board. It's when you go inactive or don't play the game for days, they're like, we need this spot for somebody else. So just keep that in mind. And then let me get to the assigned officers. So as you can see, there's red exclamation marks over these 4 crew members. It's because my Saladin could equip them, but now my Realtor doesn't have enough slots. So they're not really weighing into much on this ship. But what I want to draw your attention to is these 3. These 3 for beginners, and I still use them to this day at level 34, are the best NPC hunting crews you can get. There is some variation that I will get into when you're fighting different types of NPC ships. But typically, this crew right here, really easy to get, really easy to level up, and very effective against fighting NPCs. That leads me to another thing. When you're mining, you want a different crew setup. When you're fighting players, you want a different crew setup. When you want to try to do base defense with crew, you want a different crew setup. So and then you can be really creative with your crew setups and just say, hey, I need to hunt NPCs and everyone's in the system. So I need a crew setup that's going to let me just fly through the system, beat everyone to the NPCs, and there's crews that can do that. Of course, you're going to not be able to attack as many NPCs because you don't have an NPC crew setup, but you can do variations of that. However, what I see people do is this. They go by strength, boom, 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 and put them in all the slots. That is the worst thing to do. Don't ever find yourself doing that. That is incredibly bad. Always try to figure out what the crew setups are going to be. And make sure you click on joining my Discord. I have put in crew setups for multiple functions, for new players, for advanced players. They are set up in my Discord in a chat where I blocked all chat from, but so that people can easily find that. So for this ship, since we're going to go out and hunt NPCs with it, this is a very, very decent crew setup. This is going to be great for fighting explorers and for fighting battleships. This crew setup I would actually alter if I was going to fight interceptors. That leads me to my next point. So these ships are interceptors. I just know that because I know this symbol. So we're going to take a look. Let me see if it's going to let me do that. I need to pull up the battle triangle. There we go. Alright, so this is the combat triangle. And this is really important to remember. Battleships are effective against explorers. Explorers are effective against interceptors, and interceptors are effective against battleships. Battleships are not effective against interceptors, and interceptors are not effective against explorers, and explorers are not effective against battleships. Survey ships, so they're miner ships that you see floating through space. Those are kind of on their own. They fire phasers, and if you're fighting something, with phasers, you definitely want to use Chen. She can limit that phaser fire. Uhura, or Cadet Uhura and Cadet Bones. Then there's going to be Armada targets. Those are definitely going to be another thing we're going to talk about. And then defense platforms are on star bases when you raid them. And I'm going to try to get in a raid for you guys to see with this. So, as you can see, this arrow basically says, oh yeah, you're probably going to kick his butt. And I will. Even though I don't need to change my crew, I just want to show you what crew I would use against those interceptors. So I'm going to click on here, click Manage, and then I'm going to click on Assign Officers, and I'm going to... I actually need to look. If the opponent is hostile, then Chenin decreases by its energy weapons. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go look for Tilan. Tilan is amazing against the interceptors, and I'll explain that here in a second. So as you can see, the stats of the ship changed because I was moving one officer, and I'll definitely get into that. So Tilan, if the opponent is a hostile, Tilan decreases the damage done by its kinetic weapons by 20%. In this game, kinetic weapons are torpedoes. And yes, I know, some of the ship descriptions get very weird, like the Saladin and how it describes its kinetic weapons. But typically, kinetic weapons are torpedoes. Uhura, the reason she's captain is she decreases the weapon damage of the opponent's ship by 15%. And her officer ability is Cadet Uhura increases the shield health of the ship by 14%. And then the reason Cadet Bones is here is he increases the effectiveness of the captain maneuver by 12%. Now, you might not have them that this high ability, but keep working on recruiting them and you will. So keep that in mind. Let me go back here. So whenever you're putting down crew, you have to know that this is the captain's chair right here. These are the two officers. These are the lower deckers. And I'm going to tell you how that works here. So the captain gets to use the captain ability and the officer ability, both. The officers only get to use their officer ability. As you notice, Tilan does have a captain ability. I didn't talk about it. For one, it doesn't work. And for two, she doesn't get to use it being an officer. And then down here, all of these, so the lower deckers specifically, all their stats add in to the stats of the ship right here. So these places, you can actually put the strongest whatever you want in there. Now on this, I'm looking at this, and this is going to help you a lot. So I'm looking at the crew stats, attack, defense, health. Okay, so this is telling me I need to boost the defense of my ship. I need to boost the shields because I don't have enough shield strength. I have some good attack. I have good hull health. So I'm going to just easily remove these guys so you guys can see. All right, so defense. Starfleet Federation officers are known for high defense stats. So I'm going to look at this rare Spock. And his defense is 1243. And if I go back, I just want to show you about Uhura, who I replaced. Hers was only 294. Well, I have a mastery in here. Not a mastery, but a prime, where it's increasing Spock up to 2909. So it's prime officers. It's something you actually have to pay for. I don't really want to get into the spending piece yet, because I will. But as you saw, it was 12,000 or 1,200. Now it's 2,900, and that's definitely increased a whole lot of shielding right here. It's decreased some of my attack. So, and I know if I remove Livis here, I'm going to lose a lot of hull health. So I'm just going to kind of stick with this. And the next thing I want to show you here is the bonus. So increase attack rating to increase attack bonus of the ship. As you can see, since we have 100% bonus, we're getting a 450 point bonus to attack. That is the one thing you definitely want to watch, because this threshold goes up on other ships. Current ships, I believe it's 300% you have to get it to. So, keep that in mind. If you do have extra slots, if I had extra slots in the ship right now, I would be adding somebody with attack, because the attack is severely limited. However, right now, my ship is designed to last for a long time hunting NPCs, which is why I'm keeping Livis with his health. Actually, let me go ahead. I'm not going to move Nero. Nero, I probably should. It's like he would probably add about 4,000. Cancel. Oh man, I hate that. Cancel, confirm. He would probably add more hull health than Livis, and probably more attack I needed. But he's on another ship. I don't want to mess with him right now. And that's the other thing. You can see the assign other crew members that are assigned to your ships, because this means ship B, ship C, ship D. And if you were to look at another ship, all these would be marked ship A. But keep in mind, in the beginning, you'll only have 2 docks, so you'll have ship A and ship B. And then right here is that captain maneuver. And so we're going to go ahead and shoot a couple of NPCs. Alright, so my ship is definitely much stronger than these NPCs that you're seeing on screen. So I'm just blowing them away. You're not really seeing any kind of hull damage that I'm taking, and I'll show you that. So down here, you can definitely, this is going to be your shield health. So after a battle, you usually kind of have to give it a couple of minutes for it to, not a couple, I would say a couple of seconds, for it to recharge, and your hull health. You can't recharge your hull health until you go back to the station and repair your ship, which I'll show you here. It usually will take a lot longer than it's going to take right here, because a lot of this is based on the research you've done in the game. And at level 34, I've done all the research required for these beginning ships. And you see a little mechanic here. It's basically saying my hull is damaged a little bit. Do I want to repair it? I don't need to. I can actually send it out again. However, a lot of times you're going to need to repair the ship, and it's going to have a resource cost. Right now it's 0 because it's barely damaged, but that resource cost does get excessive, and I can just repair it immediately, and we're done. Anything less than 5 minutes, and you're going to be able to repair immediately. So that is a really good start to the game so far. The next thing I want to talk about is missions. You're going to have a whole bunch of missions to do, and it's definitely going to seem overwhelming. The first thing I want to tell you is missions are designed so you cannot complete them all right away. You have to get up to a very specific point in time and leveling up your ships. I've heard from a lot of players that are like, why can't I beat this mission? Well, you're not supposed to yet. That's the thing. So a lot of players don't understand that you're not supposed to be able to defeat every mission right away. With that being said, try to defeat every mission right away. You get lots of goodies, like if I upgrade to an operations level 35, if I hit this combat veteran, which I probably could. Let's see. Yeah, I could kill him. So I gotta make sure I don't say that word. Google is hitting me with the word I just said, and I need to stop saying that. But missions are pretty straightforward. They're very simple. If you have questions about it, use the LCAR's Discord. They really help you find where certain missions are, how to complete that. I will definitely be posting that LCAR's Discord down below as well, as it helps a lot of new players. There is a very steep learning curve learning how to use LCARs. But typically people in your alliance have already used it and should be able to walk you through it. If they haven't, I'd probably find another alliance. So the next thing I want to talk about is shielding your base. Number one pain point. Well, this is either this or mining for a lot of people, is shielding your resources. And it gets very, very frustrating for a lot of players. So, as you can see, I have 7 million parts steel, 564,000 titanium, and 220,000 dilithium. Right now, I'm at my protected vault limits. And what I mean by that is when you go into your base, you're going to have, I believe this is the vault, the Parsteel Vault protection. And there's some other things that add into your protection limits of, because you can see the Parsteel Vault is doing protection of 3.5 million, 4.8 on the next level. So you're going to have certain limits of protection on your base. But the problem is a lot of people will buy packs. They'll have a whole bunch of excess resources that are rateable. And if they don't shield, they're going to lose them. And I see a lot of players who they have to learn a lot of hard lessons, unfortunately, of shielding your base. Make sure you shield your base. So, with that being said, I'm going to give you this really quick walkthrough of how to do it. Anytime you walk away from the game, if you have extra resources, you shield your base. Anytime you take a call, you shield your base. Anytime you go to bed, anytime you wake up, anytime you go to work, anytime, anywhere, you shield your base with this button right here. All the time. If you don't shield your base, expect you will be getting raided, because you will. It's just a matter of fact. So the good thing about the shielding issue is you are able to grind out a lot of free shields through the missions and through your dailies. Through your alliance purchases, you get gifts of shields from other new players. So there is a great way. You can go to your alliance store and buy shields with alliance points that your alliance earns in events. So there's a whole bunch of ways you can earn shields. Most alliances will not wage war because you were raided. Because if you were raided and you didn't shield, that's your fault, basically. And that is probably the number one lesson we try to teach everyone in the game all the time, and all of us leaders hear about it all the time from newer players and even some veteran players. Oh my god, we need to go to war, blah blah blah. This dude just raided me. I'm like, calm down. We ain't going to war. Did you shield, yes or no? I'm guessing it was no, because you got raided. And I even have one guy where I can rely every day. I will hear about him getting raided because he doesn't shield. And I mean, after about 4 times, I was like, dude, I can't do anything else here. What do you want me to do? I've been telling you, shield all the time. Well, I passed out. That's your fault. Well, I got too drunk. That's your fault. If you are drinking, shield and play. Like, there is nothing holding anyone back from shielding. So with that being said, for new players, you are given an amount of time before people can raid you. So no one can raid your base while you're level 14 and below. That level 15, that is the big change in the game. So when you're level 14, make sure all of your station building is done. Make sure all your ships are upgraded. Make sure all your research is done. I'm not a big fan for doing that on every level. I mean, some players like that, and I'm like, no, it's stupid. Because they're like, well, of course you got raided. You didn't upgrade your station. There is no station in the game that is immune to a raid because they increase their defenses. That's just truth right there. So for me, I'm like, I'm not going to wait to upgrade this stuff just so I can go up another level. There is a reason to go up levels fast, and I'm not sure if I'll include that in this video here. However, let's go on and talk about mining. Let me see. I think I'm going to try to find a system I can mine in, which will also show you how to complete one of your first missions, which is porting your base. So that is a very early mission. Let's see. Maybe Ryza? I don't think Ryza has any mines. No. Let's see. I know where the obvious ones are, and I don't want to go to that system because it's going to take you guys a long time if you're starting to get there. Maluria? I don't think that's... Nope. Baru? Nope. Oh, yeah. There's some titanium there. Okay. So, here we go. So, most of these systems that have mineable spots, like where you can mine this titanium, you can't port your planet in there. And I just hate that. So you actually have to port into a local system that's connected, which I'll do here. And this is the big symbol for being able to port. If you see this symbol, you just click on the planet and you click relocate base as long as you have a relocation token. If you don't have a relocation token, you can get them through hunting NPCs. And you can get them through the Alliance store. You can get them a couple of different ways, but I believe the game does give you some early on, so you will have them. So as long as you see that symbol, you can port into the system. And oh, look, there's Parsteel. So let's port here. All your ships do need to be back home for you to port. And I'm going to click on, you are about to spend a relocation token to move your base from Xanthi to that. And there's my base. So now I'm going to show you some mining. Alright, so for this right here, you definitely want to choose your miner. And this miner actually specializes in Parsteel mining. It has a bonus rate of 100% to mining Parsteel, which is a really good thing if in the beginning of the game you are trying to mine Parsteel. So you definitely want to have your miners on board, because your miners are going to increase your overall ship abilities with mining. And I'll go over some of these miners because they're pretty good miners that you will need eventually. So I'm going to go into assign, and I'm not going to use Joaquin, because Joaquin you get at like level 20, so he's not a common one. These ones are actually very common. However, let's see, I need to bring, I need the group, and is it Kabish that I want? No, he's Tritanium. I think it's Helvia. Okay, perfect. So put Helvia there. All right. So this would be a very good setup. And keep in mind, you can, if you have, what's her name again? Helvia. If you have Helvia as captain, if you're mining Parsteel, she specializes in boosting Parsteel mining rates. You could put Kabish and Domitia on either officer slot. If you do have T'Pring or Stone or Barot, they're all part of the same class. You notice by these bars, meaning they're all part of the same synergy group. You can definitely use any of them because this is going to boost her captain ability. These percentage rates equally boost her captain ability, so you're going to see an overall increase to that. And for her, it is, so she increases the mining rate of the ship by 40% when mining Parsteel. Another big bonus, why a lot of people like her, is her gold rush ability. As long as the cargo of the ship is empty, Helvia increases its warp speed by 100%. So she will make, if the ship is empty, has no cargo, she will get there she will get you to where you need to be in half the time. And T'Pring, she is going to specialize in gas mining. Stone, he is going to specialize in ore mining. And then Barot will specialize in crystal mining. But their officer abilities are also very unique. So, as an officer, she increases the protection of the cargo of my ship by 200%. Stone increases the cargo size of the ship by 35%. And then Barot, his ability isn't as great. He basically increases your attack or defense if you're attacked while mining. So what I would say is you want to use Stone and T'Pring together, because what it's going to do is it's going to boost this cargo capacity and the protected cargo. So on my ship, it is now has protection of almost 9,200 and a cargo capacity of 28,000, because Stone is increasing the cargo capacity and T'Pring is increasing the protection of the cargo. So definitely play with that, though that whole miner class is great for beginners. You're not going to have as high of rates as I do in the beginning, because that's been after buying, I don't even want to know how many crew packs I bought, but I bought a lot of crew packs. And I'm going to go ahead and send this Parsteel miner out. So I'm just going to click on the mine. There's 5,000 available to mine. It's telling me my mining rate is 14,220 an hour, and it'll only be 21 minutes to fill the cargo. So I'm going to go mine, and I would at this point usually say ALEXA set timer for 21 minutes, and that way my timer would go off, and I would be able to pull my miner back and then send it back out to mine again, so that I'm not killed for being over my protection limit. And actually, the 21 minutes will probably put me past it. I would probably wait and give that about a 10-minute timer, because then you'll be at your protection limit. So that's the best way to kind of work out with the miners, is sending it out and then back and forth again. As you move up and you move into other systems, it's definitely going to take a lot longer to mine. The Parsteel is probably the easiest and the fastest thing to mine, and you're going to get better mining chips as well. So mining is definitely a core component of this game. This game, you should be able to earn a lot of Parsteel, a lot of titanium, and a lot of dilithium through raiding, that you don't have to mine it, because the game is going to ask for so much of it, and there's no way to mine it all. It's just impossible. There will be some missions where they're asking you to mine 250,000 Parsteel. That's when you want to kind of sit there and mine it for a weekend and kind of let it do its thing. but if you're mining it because you need it, you're just never going to have enough. I've seen some players do it, and it's because they don't want to raid, and that's fine. It's just going to take them forever to get where they want to be. And some players are okay with that, and that's fine. So as you go forward with the game, a lot of what I did have a level 5 player join my alliance, and I actually learned a lot from him because I think I had forgotten so much about the game. But he was definitely struggling with dilithium in the beginning. He couldn't find dilithium. He had to use it either for a mission or to upgrade his ship. And it's going to be one of those things where you're going to have to go into every system and look for a dilithium mine. You just have to click on it. You can go to Elcars, and I believe Elcars has this functionality where you can actually look for it, and they can help you find it. I'm trying to think of where it was now, because I think you guys may have that mission come up. And it was definitely a difficult system to get to for, Muraski. So this system does have dilithium mines that look like they are definitely pretty popular. Oh, this is a good one. So right here, you can tell this player has zeroed out this node, this mining node of dilithium. Look, it has 0. And he's just sitting on it. He's not moving. If this was a crowded system, somebody would have blown him up by now. So we're going to talk about the decorum that, at least on server 12, each server is definitely going to be different. Server 32 has a similar way of handling this kind of situation. As you guys can see, when they're not shining that blue, they're zeroed out. Of how you can handle this. And so you definitely want to get connected with a top 50 alliance to figure out how the galaxy handles this. So what we do on our system is, if we see something like this, we'll send a warning and say, hey, you're on a 0 node. We'll give that person 2 minutes. And they can refresh that node. What that means is they move off of it, it refreshes like this one, so they can go mine it again. If they don't move after 2 minutes, you can blow them up. And if they say, hey, why'd you blow me up? We're like, well, we gave you a 2-minute warning. That was the rule of the server. And you waited and didn't move. So I removed you from the node. However, if the ship, and I can't scan any of these, if the ship has, actually, I'm gonna move in here and try to do it. If the ship has unprotected cargo, you could just hit it. You can just blow them up, because people who are mining should know in this game that overprotected is overprotected. It's free game. And there's a reason you have a protection amount. That's when you actually have to be on the game and say, okay, I got to bring my miner back so that no one blows me up and I can come back and mine some more if need be. So those are kind of some of the rules that vary server by server. Some servers, it's just all out wild west, blow everything up. Most servers have a certain kind of decorum, and as you move up in the game, it definitely gets more interesting than that. So just keep that in mind. And if we take a look at my Parsteel miner right here, this first bar is all protection. This is unprotection. So when we click on the ship, we can definitely see we're still in the protection zone. So we're fine. We don't have to worry about it. Just keep that in mind, that if you're wondering about it, you can always take a look at it. These are definitely alliance helps. You definitely want to send those out. you're going to have a bunch of dailies. That's what's right here. After a certain level, I believe it's like after level 9, these will start to pop up. You won't have as many as I do, but you will get some of these dailies that will show up, and you'll get different rewards than I do as well, because it's going to be level specific. So you just want to keep that in mind. And I could talk about crew, but that's a whole video by itself. I think, okay, here we go. So, oh, I forgot I can't scan the ship because I'm too high of a level. Well, if I could, I could scan the ship and show you guys. So let's say this is a player. You would just scan them. And eventually it'll work. And you can take a look and see what's their overprotection. There might not be anything there. There might be some there. Usually it would say right here also for your overprotection. So just keep that in mind. You can always just scan and see the overprotection that the other player has. And a couple of things I do want to talk about that I've learned from lower level players. Once you get to level 18, I believe it's 17 or 18, you're going to get your Envoy, which is your next mining ship. Your Envoy will carry you for a very long time. I would say up until you get your Horizon, and even after your Horizon, which is about level 28, your Envoy will carry you for a very long time. What you want to do, what I'd suggest, is making 3 Envoys, if not 4, and maxing them out and leveling them up. At that point, if you are level 18, let me show you one system that is perfect. So you want to go over here, and I believe it's any of these systems that drop Envoy parts. And actually, you're not going to be able to go to there. You're going to have to go to Kabi, because this is the system that you're going to actually be able to hit those ships in. So at level 18, if you go ahead and hit these ships, they're going to drop a lot of Envoy parts so that you can go ahead and construct more Envoys. Keep that in mind. There's also a bug with the Augment faction and being able to make your Botany Bay and get into Augment space, which is this yellow space right here, and really do a lot of those missions. So if you find the 30 blueprints for the Botany Bay, you want to send a ticket to Scopely and just say, hey, I heard there is a bug with the Botany Bay. I collected the 30, but the other 30 I can't find. They will go ahead and send you the other 30 blueprints that you do need to construct that ship. There is a certain bug in the game. I'm not sure if it'll still be there by the time that you actually are going to be building it, but currently, within the last month or so, it was still in the game. So just keep that in mind. And I'm trying to think of, factions. A lot of people want to know about factions very early on. First thing about factions. If you choose a faction, you're not stuck with it. You can always change up. You can't re-choose another faction, but you can definitely start targeting other factions and earn points. Basically, how the factions work, at least for the Federation Klingon and Romulan, you basically shoot ships in their territory, and those specific kind of ships owned by the Federation Klingon and Romulans earn you points for other factions and hurt points for the faction of that ship. So for instance, if you're hitting Klingon ships, you're going to be earning favor in the Federation and the Romulan Empire, and losing it in Klingons. As you can see, the Klingons really hate me a lot. It does max out at -2 million, which is going to be pretty simple for me to come back from if I were going to do that. Right now, I just hit over 10 million, so my faction is locked with the Federation, and I was going to start working towards the Romulans here. So this is a totally different video for any new beginners because there is so much available, and I can definitely talk about that for some of the other players in a different video if that is requested. So if that's something you want, definitely put those comments down below so I know what kind of videos you guys want me to make. And let's go into the Alliance store. So this is your Alliance tab, and you can go actually in here and make contributions to your Alliance so that your Alliance can definitely go up to the next level, so that they can have more member capacity, they can send out more Alliance helps, so that it helps you build your buildings, your researches faster. That's one component here. And the Diplomacy tab, this is set up by the leadership, and they mark other alliances as allied, friendly, or enemy. Right here, if there's any ongoing armadas, they will be listed here. The current help center is where people are requesting helps. Any rewards, these are for players in your alliance that are buying packs. Every pack gives a reward to all the players of the alliance. And finally, the store. So the alliance store is definitely it's constantly changing. Like this right here is very brand new, and I'm assuming it's for the new event. And there's a whole bunch of different kinds of currencies to have and to use in this alliance store. If we take a look, this is requiring rogue event trophies. So it is talking about participating in an event. And then there are these avatars, and these are going to require the rare Armada credits. That's way overpriced. I would not get those avatars. Then you have the epic Armada packs, the rare Armada packs, and the uncommon. And they all require the currency from epic Armadas, rare Armadas, and uncommon Armadas. Armada tactical cores are going to be coming from, it's the same currency for uncommon Armadas. And then Armada Directives, once a week you can claim this. It does cost 250 alliance points, but you get 100 Armada Directives. Then you can buy these Ultra Recruit tokens. I would not buy them with alliance points. I think it's a lot easier to earn them, as your alliance credits are very important for buying shields. I would focus on buying shields with your alliance credits more than anything. Maybe relocation tokens and Armada Directives. Okay. Then I want to save purchases for the last part. And officers and ships, I don't really want to talk about, because those are videos themselves. The refinery. So the refinery is very important. You definitely want to go into your refinery once, I believe it's every 10 hours, and refine your crystal, your gas, and your ore as much as possible. Because as you level up, your buildings, your research, your ships, they're all going to require uncommon and common and rare ore, gas, and crystal. It's going to be grade 2, and then at level 20 it's going to jump up to grade 3. So just keep that in mind, that you're going to be needing that and to be refining all the time. And of course you get that from mining the raw crystal, gas, and ore. And let's see. So here you can change your avatar. Here you can change your name. Here you can search for an alliance. One big question I get asked a lot is, how do I leave my alliance? And you go up to this button right here, settings, and leave alliance. And I think that's probably going to do it for this beginner's guide. Please let me know if I left anything out. If you feel like anything is missing, I can do a second part to this video as well. Make sure you click the like if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, and definitely, let me know how everyone is proceeding with this game, what they're liking, what they're disliking. I'm really curious to hear back from you guys. Scopely do read the comments on all their videos, so make sure you definitely say something if something is on your mind. Other than that, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Go off and enjoy your Sunday morning and the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later.